Check. Good. So I'm Max Ceron. Max Ceron, CWB Association Welding Podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding Podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association Podcast. My name is Max Ceron, and as always, I'm finding the guests with the bestest and the mostest in the weldest in the world. And here today we have a wonderful man who I've met a few times now, and he's just an all-around lovable guy, Mike Barnett. How you doing, Michael?
Doing great, Max. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. We've talked about having you on a couple times, kind of just missed here and there, and here it is now. You're on the show.
Yep, just talk about perfect scheduling because of how crazy my scheduling gets sometimes with my job.
Yeah, we both are always working weird hours, and it was tough. And like you said, next week is Christmas, although this won't be released until well after Christmas. But for the people that are listening, you'll see my background. This is what AI says a Max Christmas needs to look like, kind of gothic and scary. I dig it. But it looks like
elves enjoying our nice log cabin.
Yeah. Where are you calling in from today?
I'm coming all the way from Canton, Ohio at this time.
Canton, Ohio. I was just in Columbus, Ohio last week.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that. And I heard you were in I heard your podcast episode talking with I forgot her name, but she was in Tennessee.
Oh yes. Oh geez, I don't
Yeah, we're starting with the lady whoever we're talking about. We're just a lot of people. It's hard to remember names sometimes.
So, Mike, let's talk about who you are and how you got on the show. So, first and foremost, you're a welder, correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
So, when did you get into it? Tell us about how you got into that trade.
Well, it's kind of a funny story. I actually never considered welding when I was growing up until I was a senior in high school. And the reason why was because from the age of 5 years old, I used to work with my grandfather on irrigation sprinkler systems and worked on farms and stuff. So I learned how to run tractors. I learned how to how the plumbing works and all the stuff when it comes to water irrigation. And originally I was going to take over his business and just do that and just sit and go to college for a couple of years just to make sure I understood the technical aspect. But as in the middle of my senior year of high school, my grandpa just told me, Michael, don't. When I was confused, I was like, why? And I was like, I'm good at it. I'm practically doing your job. You can barely do anything now because of your age and everything. And he just said, yeah, but look at me, your grandma. We didn't play the game right, and I don't have money that's saved up for retirement, and your grandma's having to work full time, and we just can't. This isn't a way of living nowadays. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. He's like, well, just try to reconsider something else besides irrigation. Just don't limit yourself to one thing. Just don't be a one-trick pony, which is something I live by now. And so, while I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, I kind of get into like one of those in those little stalemate moments where I'm trying to figure it out, and then I was like, give me a sign of what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. And I turn on the TV, and then the Tulsa Welding School's commercial comes on, and it just said, "Do you like working with your hands?" So like, yeah. He's like, "Do you like making money?" He's like, "Uh-huh." He's like, "Do you want to build this infrastructure?" Like, yeah. He's like, "Been joined Tulsa Welding School." I'm like, okay, I'll do that.
So the commercial got you. It's good to know that those commercials will get you, right?
Yeah, just talking about perfect timing because I mean I've seen glimpses of it before, but at that time I was just like, not. I don't think I'd be a fan of it just because it's a lot of heat and stuff, and with how big I am and how much I'm out in the sun all day at work, I was like, I would be kind of miserable for the most part, but
sounds like you should move up to Canada.
I don't know because I don't really like the cold either.
So
before
you saw this commercial, before the welding ad got you, Did you know anything about welding? Like, it sounds like you had a little bit of, like, I guess, trades exposure from your grandpa, but, like, I mean, aside from just knowing what it was in general, you never had anything to do with it before?
Nope, I never even touched a torch ever until I went to college, and it threw my instructors off because I was on I was in Dodge City Community College, land of the old Western movies and TV shows that you used to grow up on. And my instructors, I had a class with 20 guys, and they were somewhere in the Army, some were Navy, and there were some had were in mom and pop shops or already had years of experience under their belt.
Mm-hmm.
And they get to me, and they're like, "All right, how long you been welding? What's your name? What's your name? Where are you from? How long you been welding?" I was like, "I'm Michael. I'm from down the road away, and I have 0 years of experience." He's like, "Do you have any experience at all?" I was like, "No." He, and he's like, "Wait, you have no welding experience?" I was like, "None." And he's like, "Okay, that's new for me."
Really? So,
And
like, everyone in your area all just, like, know how to weld for no, like, just 'cause?
well, yeah, well, in the land of Kansas, we're known for agriculture, and
Mhm.
majority of people there, they're having their equipment fixed all the time. So it's usually stick, MIG welding. Sometimes that flux core stuff for some certain places, but
Mhm.
majority of it's all stick welding because you got farmers and you got the people who just need maintenance work done. And now, granted, they didn't have much of CWIs in my area that I was at, and I just never had to do any welding for at all the entire time until I went to college.
Yeah, it's funny because I live in a very agricultural part of Canada, and we have a like a saying as instructors when we get kids from the farm that would come in. As soon as they walk in, be like, "Oh, where are you from?" "Oh, I'm from a small town about an hour, north or east or however." Small town people always talk, take a left 3 miles after the white fence type of thing, and it's like, "Oh, so you know how to weld? Oh, yeah." It's like, "Okay, so you know how to weld poorly. Got it."
Yep, that I can verify that. I've met a few farmers who can lay down a bead, and or they have a saying like, "If it looks like it holds, just send it down the road."
So you start taking this course, you got no experience, but you're in a class with a lot of people with some experience. That's kind of intimidating, man.
Oh yeah, it was because my a lot of the guys thought I wasn't gonna make it. They all thought I was gonna chicken out at the last minute after the safety course that you had to take for the first 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, that just it kind of pissed me off in a way. And I'm gonna effing prove it to you all. Like I can do this.
Yeah.
So get out of my way. And so I passed their safety course thing, and then it was in the shop, and then we started with learning. On Mondays we did stick welding classes. On Tuesdays we did TIG. MIGs were on Wednesdays, and Thursdays was either cutting and processing or flux core welding. And you just learn the basics of going flat, horizontal, uphills and overheads, and doing the laps, tees, and butt joints and stuff. And the instructors had an expectation of you to they were CWIs, and they said that in here there's an acceptable and a rejectable. And if I see any rejectable stuff on your welds, it's going to be an automatic fail for me. So, because I want you guys to produce at perfection levels, because that's what they're going to expect you out there in the field. And so he really drilled it into a lot of us. And it wasn't just him, the instructor. I had 3 instructors total in this
Mm-hmm.
school, and I only had to deal with 2 of them. But they both were CWIs and CWEs, and they had a they both held the standard, and they would help you out if you were having a hard time understanding stuff. And when it came, they also were trying to teach you how to troubleshoot, understand what it's like to be out in the field in a way,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of they were trying to throw a real work experience at you too, so that you were prepared in a way.
Now,
Which
how long was the course in total?
it was a 2-year course that I decided to take just so I got my my associate's degree, and in science, and it was for under course of welding. So it was, you only had to do at least 6 months to understand the basics and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do the full 2 years because I didn't want to go out into the field and be confused or lost. It wanted to make sure I was prepared for anything that was tossed my way.
So you went into this right after high school. Like you were like what? You're 18 and you're rolling into this.
Yep. Yep. I was freshly 18 and leaving and moving out of my grandparents' place, and because they were raising me at the time with because my mom and them and had to relocate, and I was doing. She wanted me to finish my senior year close to town,
Right.
close to town, so it was better for me to stay with them, and it worked out pretty good for the most part, in my opinion.
Yeah. So you're working towards this 2-year program. How was that? Was it a tough 2 years? Did you get pretty pumped? Like was it an uphill battle, or how did you feel about the program?
I actually really like the program compared to other places that I heard about how they do their program.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that you did all the welding processes within the week and you kept going, and then you had Fridays available to work on whatever it is you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
If you needed to catch up on the coupon that you had to produce, and it was just a really good setup in my opinion. And the whole 2 years that I was doing this, it had its moments of challenges because we had to we had to have shop time in the shop itself,
Yeah.
and we of course we had the book work to understand the technical side of everything. And on top of that, the instructors also wanted us to understand. They wanted us to do welding blueprints, metallurgy. They wanted us to learn how to run machines and stuff also. So we had a piranha, we had a shear machine, a bender, all kinds of stuff, and they wanted
Mm-hmm.
us to become very versatile in whatever it is they wanted whenever it came to a job.
Mm-hmm.
And then they even had a small 4x4 CNC table, and
Nice.
we had to make one of our final assignments. We had to make our own program to lay out metric image, and then make a cutout, and that was our final assignment for the CNC. And the rules were we had to make it by drawing it out. We can just copy it off the image because
Right. Right.
they wanted to really challenge us.
To plot it out yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, and or at least prepare us for whenever we go to a shop, we know how to add the curvature, do a proper layout, and make sure that it puts through properly and there's not some odd up or nick.
So you get through the program, you graduate, and what's the environment like in your area for work? Is it like, oh no, it's going to be hard to get a job, or is it companies are waiting for you, being like, get over here, Mike, I got work for you?
It was there was kind of a little difficult because in the Southwest Kansas area where I'm from, there isn't a big call for welders because they are focused more on the agriculture side. They needed more of semi drivers, and they're for the most part to haul corn and wheat and stuff. But and I had a job in mind when I first got out, but the guy that I knew, he told me that he didn't feel comfortable hiring me on because he wanted me to get some more field experience. Since what he did in his shop was a wide variety of stuff, and there'd be times we'd be in a shop, and there'd be times where we're out in the field dealing with Mother Nature being the beast, and it's kicking our behinds all over the place and basically manhandling us like a gorilla.
Yeah, yeah. But where did you go to find a job?
That's actually even more of a funny story. I had already printed out resumes for other fabrication shops that I knew of. Problem is that majority of the fabrication shops, they had a heavy Hispanic area, and they wanted to keep just the Hispanics in the shop because they communicated with each other that way.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the foremans didn't like speaking English because they were bad at it. So
Yeah.
But I ended up I was supposed to have an interview with some other place, but they I guess they filled the position, and I just walked down the road and found this place called Western Steel and Automation, and I just saw the word steel, and I was like, maybe they might need somebody. And I park my truck and I go towards I see some guys like loading up some stuff onto a hip wheel and stuff, and I go to them. I'm like, hey, who's your boss around here? He's like, that guy over there, guy with the blonde hair, the guy goes by Leroy. I was like, okay. So I walk over to him and I was like, excuse me, sir, are you Leroy? He's like, yeah, I'm Leroy. It's like, hi, my name is Michael Barnett. I like shook his hand and I told him like, I just got out of welding school. I have 2 years of experience. I have a certification for uphill welding for
Mm-hmm.
7018. I'm looking for a job. Are you hiring? And he just looked at me and he said, you're hired. And I was like, sorry, what? I was like, and
You don't even know what he does.
yeah, I was like, okay, I guess I got the job. But I found out later on from a couple other guys that there was literally a guy that just got hired on and he quit that day because he wanted to be just a truck driver. And when he found out that he wasn't going to be just a truck driver, he decided to leave. And so I just called that perfect timing.
Perfect. Yeah. Right place, right time.
Yeah, call it God's intervention or something in a way. And I'm just like, okay, wow, I got a job. And then I found out that it was grain elevators that did grain elevator repair work, builds themselves, ironworking stuff, repairs. And there was a whole big one wrong move. There could have been a loud explosion of grain dust.
Yeah, I've worked in grain elevators before. There's a lot of safety precautions you gotta take.
Oh yeah. I mean, they are kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's like it's the difference between you going home at night or
Yeah, well, I'm sure you've seen the videos of when they go crazy, like they blow up nuts when they go off.
yeah. Luckily, I haven't had that. I haven't had that incident. Just a couple things caught on fire a couple times, but nothing too major.
So you get the job, no sight unseen. You just walked up, shook your hand, and get the job. You go home, you tell your grandparents and everybody, I got a job, everyone's happy. And they're like, what do you do? And you're like, I have no idea.
Yeah, pretty much. No, yeah, pretty much. And I just had to I had to go do the drug test. And then, of course, we discussed wages stuff. And he just explained to me that he said that with this job, yeah, there is welding, but there's not very much of it. I was like, what I need guys who can be general labor, can run
drivers,
a forklift,
everything. Yeah.
I need truck drivers, I need crane operators, I need forklift drive operators. He's like, I need licensed crane riggers. I'm like, I have none of those things. I just have your welding cert. He's like, okay, well, then you can be at the bottom pay rate. I was like, fine, I'll take the job, but because I didn't know how quickly I'd find any other jobs or one that was actually going to be decent pay. And
yeah, but that's a great place to start because you're going to get a lot of different certs. It's funny you bring that up because my son was just here today and he's in construction and he was like telling me that he's doing a lot of skid steering right now because snow removal. They got him working a bucket on a skid steer. And I was like, oh, cool. You should get your license for that. And he's like, there's a license for that? I'm like, well, yeah, like you can get your certs and all these things. And then you're like certified to do it. And he's like, really? So I pull out my old certs and I'm like, here's my high aerial platform. Here's my confined space. Here's my skid steer, class 2, class 5, vertical lift, JLG. And he's like, holy, you got all these certs. And I was like, that's how you get high paying jobs. Like you just got to start getting every cert you can, right?
Yeah. Or it's also just makes you also more desirable and gives you more of an edge too when it comes to like arguing wages and stuff. Which it actually did end up helping me out later down the road. And whenever we get to that part,
so you're at the multifaceted kind of ag maintenance shop where they kind of support the ag industry. How long were you there for before you decided to bounce to the next place?
I was there for about 5.5 years, and I didn't decide to bounce. I had inside the bounce. I got fired.
Uh-oh. What'd you do?
Yeah. Well, my attitude had gotten the best of me. Like my anger it was horrible. Like everybody they were terrified of me, and I looked like I was about to kill somebody half the time. And
I wonder
uh,
why. Do you know why you were so upset all the time?
well, it's because things weren't going right. I was in financial stress. I was either dealing with a divorce, or I was dealing with
Mm,
one of my coworkers just talking to me like I was still a low man on the totem pole. And just once this a couple of times, me and the foreman, man, we got into it too many times, and I was trying my best to just keep my cool, but there were times where I just yelled at him or I was yelling at somebody else, and it just wasn't looking professional.
yeah.
And me, I didn't care, and my carrying meter just was just gone. I didn't care
Yeah.
at all. And I was planning on doing this last project, and I was just gonna drag up as soon as the last stat was put in, and I was just gonna quit after that. But they kind of pushed me out the door before that could even happen, and it was November, about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, and I was like, this is horrible timing because I don't know how quickly I can get a job,
Hmm.
especially in Kansas, and harvest season's over with, so nobody's looking to be hiring. And I
Yeah.
didn't have I didn't have much of equipment available, and so I could run my own shop or none of that stuff. And but luckily I did have during my time there, I did get my license to operate a forklift, and we're talking about running telehandlers, skid
Hmm.
steers, small forklifts even. And then I also got my certs for crane rigging
Oh, nice.
and learning. And so, luckily down the road, there was a place that they stored all those wind and solar panels and the wind turbines and stuff.
Hmm.
And so, when they saw that I had experience welding, the certs for the crane rigging and the certs for the forklift operating, they're like you was like, we'd like to hire you on. I was like, perfect, I'm on. And then I I ended up getting on that job, and then unfortunately COVID hit, and work kind of got really slow at that time.
Yeah. I'm curious though, because and I hope this isn't uncomfortable for you. If it is, just let me know. But a lot of young men in the trades struggle with anger, frustration, their temper. As an instructor, I've seen students throw grinders across the room, plates across the room, and it's always really difficult to try to teach them that that is very detrimental to their career, right? Uh, like for yourself, how much of a lesson was that in your life to be like, maybe you didn't want to work there, but you probably could have handled that differently, right?
Yeah, I mean, what the main thing that I really hated was some of the words I said to the foreman, because my foreman his name was Kirk, and he was a great guy. And he was when I first started, he took me under his wing. He taught me everything he learned, and he had over 20 plus years or 30 years of experience being a millwright, and he would show me all his tricks, his trades. And I guess at some point I got tired of him repeating everything over and over again. I'm still new at this. I'm like, Kirk, I got this, man. Trust me. And but when the day came that I got fired, I I yelled at him. I yelled at Leroy. I was like saying, like, this is BS, man. I was like, 5.5 years of loyalty to to everyone, to all you here. I was like, it's like, F all of you. And I freaking nose went off, and I was just like, this is bullshit. And I can't believe this. Like 5.5 years of loyalty, and I turned down jobs because you said you had my back, and you do that to me. I'm like, screw you. When I leave, and like
Well, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
all my coworkers, when they heard the news that when they saw me grabbing my stuff, and they're like, "What's going on, man?" It's like, I just got fired. They're like, okay, yeah, that's funny. I was like, guys, I'm not kidding. I'm fired. And
Hmm.
they're like, holy, you're serious? I was like, It's like I'm grabbing my bags and stuff, and then they're like, "Holy, this is real." I'm like the luck to you guys, I guess. And then I
Well,
leave.
it wasn't meant to be, like if you're not happy where you're at, don't stay. I tell people that all the time. I learned that the hard way.
Well, I just kind of wish that I had left on a better term.
That's
Like I could
right.
have like I could have said, "I'm sorry. I wish I had done things better." But I just let my anger get the best of me, and that was making it more difficult for people to work with me, even
That's
on the
right.
new job. Even on the new job that I was on, because at the beginning, I was trying to get along with everybody and trying to do everything. But when there was constant changes of, hey, I need you over here, I need you over here, no, I need you over here, I need you to get this rigging. We need this rigging. And it's like our little gators looking like an episode of Hoarders. And they're like yelling at me. They're like, "Why is your gators so messy?" I was like, "I don't know. Maybe because you told me to get 7 different types of damn rigging. You're not giving me time to go back to the shop to unload the please all my all that."
So
Yeah.
now you get to the new job. Is it new Mike, new life, new attitude?
No, I've still had the bad attitude half the time. And there's just actually some of the workers where I hated them because they were either lazy, incompetent at the job, or just entirely useless. And well, to me, they were useless because they weren't picking up what we were trying to teach them, and they kept having too many uh-ohs and incidents. And I'm just like, guys, we've gone through this multiple times. How are you still screwing up?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, these are multi-million-dollar freaking pieces of machinery. All the steel, all these gear heads, these blades. These are millions of dollars that we are trying to handle, and we're trying not to break them. Because if they break, we're screwed.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But what finally stopped me was, it was when COVID was going on, and I was going through my second divorce at this time, and I was dealing with the second ex-wife because we were trying to make things work, but it just wasn't going to work out. And my, I was trying to go to this church recovery group. Not for they were for drug addicts, but they also dealt with divorcees, and
Yeah. Yeah.
they dealt with people who deal with anger and stuff. And I just am like, I don't know, I don't think this is a place for me. And they're like, Mike, come on, just like we know you, we can see it that you want to change, but you're just not getting it. This is not clicking.
Yeah.
So don't come in, like just come one night. I'm like, all right, fine, screw it. So I go on there, and I go there and end up chatting for a little bit, and then we finally get a chance to chat as a group with both the men and the women, and we eventually then I guess start talking about what's been going on with me, and the fact that I'm always pissed off all the time, and like I was tired of being scary to people, and like a part of me was on the verge of just not becoming a complete isolationist and not wanting
Yeah.
to be with anybody or do anything. And these two ladies, their names were Misty, and Krista. They were very small ladies that they were literally at the side. They were on my pec height, and one was actually lower than my pec. And they're just like, and they're like, Michael, would you give us would you let us all pray for you? I was like, no. I'm like, no. I'm like, no offense, but I've been in the whole Christian thing since I was born, and God right now is not working for me. So, and then before he even finished my sentence, and these two just went at me. I was just like,
There was no escape.
yeah, they're just like yelling at me. They're like, we are not giving up on you. I'm like, what the and then they're like, I knew their husbands. They were one of them is actually he actually is he used to be an iron worker in a millwright too.
Mm-hmm.
He became one of my good friends. He's a guy named Matt Bondarico. He's now a pastor, ironically. And he actually used to be a former gang member, and he used to used to be scared of him.
Mm-hmm.
But now he became a light to the darkness in a way. And then finally, I guess it was like when seeing that and seeing the Kristen's husband, also John, he just seeing how their lives changed from the way they used to be to where they are now. I was like, all right, fine, you win. Let's go. I
Yeah.
really want to change, but I guess it's got to be. I guess I got to learn to surrender at this point. And
Absolutely.
so I went ahead, did the prayer again, and I tried to start all over. And finally, I just felt this weight of anger and all the stuff I was holding on to just go away finally. And I finally started to smile and was actually being genuine. And I went to work at the wind turbine company and stuff. And everyone's like seeing me smile, and they're like, what is going on here? And they're like, who are you? I was like, it's me, Mike. They're like, you're smiling. I was like, yeah, is what's
New
wrong
Mike.
with that? And they're like, but you never smile. And I'm like, well, I guess this is a new me or a new side of me. And they're like, okay, well, we're having you work with these guys today. I'm like, all right, no problem. And I was like, what are we picking? They're like, we need these parts. I'm like, I got them all. And then for months on end, I was like doing this whole complete one. I did this whole 180, and I'm smiling. I'm actually trying to help some of the guys learn how to do their job properly.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, some of them are having a hard time clicking. So I had to try different ways to teach them how to do the job.
Yeah.
And then it just started working out better in a way. And
well, for sure, man. Nothing good comes out of anger. And, I learned that. I think a lot of people struggle with learning that. I know people that went to the grave and never learned that. For myself, once I could shed my ego and my anger, is when I started taking off professionally. It changed my life. It changed my world to start to just stop thinking about that stuff. Like what? Like I would be pissing myself off all day. No one else is pissing you off. You piss yourself off. You're not really mad at those people. You're not really mad at the workers. You're not really mad at them. You're mad at yourself for some reason, and you just take it out on everybody. You know what I mean?
I was mostly mad at myself because I went under the impression that I was going to be making all this money and I was going to be living a successful life and stuff. But I was on my second divorce at the time, and I was just like I was in a freaking pissed off. Like, why isn't this working? When I went into this life with this utmost expectation, but then it just went south, and I was being like my father, and he's in his deal right now with how he's dealing with his anger, his abuse with alcohol right now, and we're trying to help him, but he's got to make a change himself.
Right. Well, this is a great time to take a break for our commercials and our advertisers. We'll come back after the break, and I want to, talk about, the new Mike, the one that smiles. And since I've met you, you've been nothing but smiles and a great guy to me. And I think that's important to see, like, how that's changed your life and where you are now. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the CWB Association podcast after these messages.
The CWB Association is new and improved and focused on you. We offer a free membership with lots of benefits to anyone interested in joining an association that is passionate about welding. We are committed to educating, informing, and connecting our workforce. Gain access to your free digital publication of the Weld magazine, free online training, conferences, and lots of giveaways. Reach out to your local CWB Association chapter today to connect with other welding professionals and share welding as a trade in your community. Build your career, stay informed, and support the Canadian welding industry. Join today and learn more at cwbassociation.org.
And we are back here on the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron, and I'm here with Mike Barnett coming to us. And he's telling us, well, he's in Canton, Ohio right now, but we're talking about his life in southern Kansas and some of the struggles that not just Mike, but so many of us go through in terms of being emotionally and, ready to work and to succeed. because succeed doesn't come when you're putting obstacles in front of yourself. Success starts to come once you got a healthy heart and start feeling better about things. And you only see the good. You see the paths, right? For yourself, Mike, you know, right before the break, you were saying, you know, you got back to work, started to smile. People notice relationships already immediately start to change. The way people treat you, the way people talk to you starts to change. Where did you go from there? You know, like windmill time was slow. Did you stick it out there? Did you look for something else? What happened from that point?
Yeah, during the time that we was busy with the wind turbines is when COVID hit. So for about 6 months, we were the yard was in a stalemate, like nothing was moving because of uncertainty. What was the vaccines and everything we were waiting to hear what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And by the 1 year mark, things were starting to lighten up with the restrictions and stuff. And I had gotten word about a job coming up in a fabrication shop, and I wanted to get back to welding full time. So
Yeah.
I tried to go work for this one place, but again, I didn't last too long there because I had a hard time understanding the foreman, and because he did speak English very well, and eventually it just wasn't working out for me or him. So it was best for me to cut it.
Yep.
And then I did actually end up getting my own mini rig started up and stuff. I got my hands on a Lincoln 225, and I started my leads. I had grinders and everything started. And I was originally going to start my own LLC at some point. I just was trying to save up for cushion.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, finances kind of went south when trying to catch up on all the bills. And luckily, my buddy Andreas, who he started his own business before COVID hit, and he did a bunch of plant shutdowns and did replumbing and stuff. And he needed a hand every now and then out on jobs. So if he needed my rig and his rig to double team stuff, he called me up and be like, "Hey, Mike, I need you. Are you available tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I need you over at this place.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do some molasses lines. We got to do some hydro lines." I'm like, "All right, cool. I'll be there."
Yeah.
And we did. I worked for him for a while, and I was also building up my own little brand where I did custom metalwork pieces and stuff. And I was doing signs, I was doing handrails, I was doing fire pits, grills, smokers, bumpers for trucks, and I was building kind of a good reputation around my town and everything. And I still didn't have enough money saved up to start my own business. And I eventually get a phone call from from Minnesota number, and I'm like, "Who do I know in Minnesota?" And I'm confused. I think it's like a telemarketer or something. I like answering the phone. And this guy, he's like, "Is this Michael Barnett?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Who are you?" He's like, "My name is so and so, and I'm with this company." I was like, "Okay, I don't know you. Who?"
What's up?
Clarify.
Yeah.
I was like, "Get to the point, dude. Stop pausing." And he said, "Hey, we're going to be doing a project in your neck of the woods, and we need to hire some people that are local." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Well, what's the job?" And he said, I need some guys who can do structural welding. Can you do that?" I was like, "Yeah, I got about 5-6 years of that now." He's like, "Okay, how good are you welding stainless?" I was like, "Rod?" Or he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Iffy, but I can still do it.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a little time to practice. I can definitely get it down." He's like, "All right, well, meet me here on this time at this area at this time, and we'll run through everything, and we'll see what you got." All right, cool. So I meet the guy who's the project manager for this job, and he like shows me how things are going to work, what the building's going to be looking like, and he shows me prints and stuff, and I'm just like pointing out all the welding blueprints and stuff because I knew how to read them. He's
Yeah.
like, "Wait, you read? Like you can read this stuff?" I was like, "Yeah, I can read it." And then he's like, How? I was like, "I did this back in college."
Yeah.
He's like, well, that's handy. I was like, "Thank you." Like, and then he told me that he asked me like, what else he was like, "I just need somebody who can do the welding do backup welding so that these guys can put the building together. It was a precast job, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like we just need somebody coming in behind and weld behind them and everything. I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. It's like, okay, I'll get you doing a play test. I was like, been a couple of years since I've done one, but I can do it.
Yeah.
And then so we get a chance to do the job finally, and job starting, and I mean all these guys who are with different unions and stuff. And in Kansas, we don't have much of a union, so
Mm-hmm.
basically having to make sure not to poke the bear or cause trouble.
Yeah.
But there was like a moment where they were supposed to have some guy running a telehandler or a skid steer, and they're like, "Dang, we got to know." It's like, who here knows? Like, does any of you guys got license to run a skid steer? I was like, I do. And they're like, wait, you can run a skid steer? I was like, yeah. He's like, can you run a telehandler? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay. And then they're like, and then I'm like checking rigging and stuff too, and they're like, wait, are you licensed rigger too? I was like, yeah. He's like, where have you been? I was like, Kansas.
Yeah.
So I'm helping out with this entire job and everything, and a lot of the guys we got along great for the most part. And this, unfortunately, I had to drag up in the middle of the job because life changes were happening, and I needed to relocate to take care of some things. And eventually, I ended up getting a job with this other fabrication shop, and it was a great job. I actually quite enjoyed it, but things were kind of getting crazy and everything. And some of the guys I met that this fabrication shop, half of the guys on the job there were subcontract welders, and
Mm-hmm.
they traveled from Texas, Arkansas, New Mexico, and all over the place.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, why are you guys here in Kansas? And they're like, because this place didn't have enough skilled labor, so they brought us in as temporary workers. I'm like, isn't that kind of difficult? They're like, not really. It's like, as long as you're willing to be flexible and go from one spot to another, there's always gonna be work available.
Yeah.
I was like, huh. They're like, hey Mike, why don't you come and join us? It's like, come join the subcontract life and start traveling all around America. I was like, well, can I join you guys? They're like, no, we can't hire you because that's considered poaching employees. So
Right.
like just hop on Indeed and look up jobs with per diem or travel welding jobs. It's like,
Mhm.
all right. So I go on Indeed, I search it up and found the company I work for now, and they scheduled the interview, and my recruiter, she interviews me, asks me all kind of questions about my experience with everything. And she said, all right, I think we'll bring you on. I was like, awesome, great. When do I start? And she's like, oh, it's like, well, you start now, but the way it works is I'll send you a job that's open and available, and you read through the description, make sure that you can do the job, make sure if there's a weld test that you can pass the test,
Mhm.
and make sure to read the duration and any other parts of the job, and make sure that you are okay with it. And I'm like, all right. And so she sent me jobs, and I was qualified for some of the jobs, but there was a couple I hadn't done in a while, so it was too much of a gamble.
Mhm.
And finally, one place finally said yes to bringing me on, and funny enough, it was in Kansas. I literally just went down the road to this job, and
And then came back.
yeah, so my first assignment was in Kansas, and I was only supposed to be there for 6 months, but it turned into an extra 6 months after the holidays.
Mhm.
And then as soon as July hit, I got sent to here to Ohio for one job, and I was only here for about a few months, and then got sent to Fargo, North Dakota. I've been in Tennessee, I've been in Kentucky, and now I'm back here in Ohio for another 4 months. Now,
Fargo, North Dakota. That's only like 3 hours from my house.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just north of Fargo in Saskatchewan. So
Okay. I was working at a place that was I had a little bit of I worked on the night shift at that time at that place, and we were supposed to be there for 3 months, but the contract got cut short because of it being the holidays. And apparently, this place was doing a bunch of remodeling on the inside with their jigs and their fixtures and stuff. So they saw no reason to bring us subcontractors back on after the holidays. So they just said, "Yeah, after the 22nd, your job's done here." And we're like,
Perfect.
I was like,
Probably,
great.
probably
like,
cold. Being up here in December is pretty cold.
Yeah, and I mean it worked out in a way because as soon as I left Fargo, a couple of people that actually live in Fargo, they actually messaged me and they're like, "It's like, please let me know you got out of North Dakota already." I was like, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in the middle of South Dakota right now," and I'm like, "Yeah, it was really foggy."
Yeah.
And they like sent me pictures of how white it is up there already.
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow, I really dodged a bullet there."
So, you're working in this place now, everything's kind of come around full circle, but, how I met you was, both either Instagram and then in person at FabTech, right?
Yeah.
Now, what brought you to FabTech? What got you out there? Was that your first FabTech you've been to?
No, that was actually my second. I did go to Chicago.
Right, and I met you in Chicago, I believe.
Yeah, I think you roughly saw me, but
Yeah.
we didn't get a chance to chat much because you're a busy bee when it comes to FabTech.
I am a busy bee at FabTech, yes.
So I can't, and I'm not mad about that because I mean it was the same thing with Bill Wigington from Weld.com, Jason
Yeah.
Becker from Board Junkies, and like I knew of you people, but I didn't get a chance to really get to know you guys, and I was still a small minnow compared to you guys who were a lot bigger when it comes to this kind of lifestyle of welding and stuff.
Yeah.
But what got me to FabTech was I heard on Weld.com about they were advertising about FabTech,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I never heard of FabTech, and I was like, I wonder what that's all about. So I look it up, and saw it was in Chicago, and I was like, oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So it had been a while since I ever had a vacation, so like never have had a vacation.
Yeah, like most of us.
Yeah, but so I said, you know what, I'm gonna take all 4 days of FabTech in Chicago. I'm gonna go do experience it, and I'm gonna go check it out and see if it's something that I'm gonna like. And then at this time, I also had just gotten a brand ambassadorship with Bokomo FR Clothing, and they were still kind of fresh and new at the game, and they I messaged the people at Bokomo, and I'm like, hey, I don't know if this means anything to you guys, but have you guys ever heard of FabTech? And their person who handles their Instagram, they messaged me back, and they're like, no, we've never heard of it. I was like, well, according to a lot of people, that this is a place for welders, and since you guys are FR Clothing, I think it'd be a great opportunity for you guys to plant your stuff there and start showing off the product, because I was already going to be wearing the product and walking around and checking out everything. And I kind of got a little bit of a soft invite from Joey Caruso, aka Mullet Welder.
Yeah.
Because him and his wife were going to be there with the Hood of Heroes Foundation, and they said, so come swing by our booth, we'll show you the roaster and everything. I was like, sweet, awesome.
Perfect, yeah.
So I was just going to hang out with them most of the time and then just walk around and experience the thing that is FabTech. But then, so about a month away from the event, I get a message from Bokomo, and they're like, hey, we decided to get a booth, and we want you to come be one of the spokesmen.
Work the booth, yeah.
At the booth. I was like, really? I was like,
awesome.
This is like, well, this is new, because I've never had a brand ambassadorship or ever done this. So and they're like, we just want you to be there and just tell people about the product itself, and then that's all we want you to do. I was like, okay, if that's all you want. Like, I can definitely do that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm good at talking, so.
So how would you rate your first experience of FabTech in Chicago?
Well, I mean, minus the traffic, it was I give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
It was from from what I was allowed to go do. I've originally hung out on the welding area of the fab of the whole event. I didn't get a chance to go to cutting and processing or the finishing line,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean the welding side itself was pretty huge on its
Yeah.
own, and all the different booths that were there, and not to mention some of the people who I seen on Instagram, and I hadn't got a chance to meet them in person. And then as you meet them in person, I was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome!" And and then I even got a chance to meet I got to meet 4 out of the 9 competitors from the Metal Shop Masters.
Right. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and got a chance to. I met Ray for like a little bit, but she was also busy talking to some people, so I was like, I didn't want to bother her. And then I met Ivan, Frank, Louis, and I heard Tom was there later on, but
Yeah,
I
he
didn't get a chance to
was.
see him. But and then I met Stephanie Hoffman too, and I was just like, this is crazy. Like I'm in shock. I'm in awe, and I'm just like, holy cow! I'm surrounded by a bunch of other welders
Mm-hmm.
that this is their career of doing the Instagram and doing the metal mentoring and stuff. It's you guys don't like the word influencers and stuff, but and I found it awesome, and we with Bokemal we did such a good job on just in Chicago. On the first day, the boss said, like, I already booked us for Orlando. I was like, really? He's like, you're coming too. I was like, yes.
Yes. So then that takes you to Orlando. And at this point, you've gotten in a little deeper. You know the crowd a little bit better. You're at the VIP party with Becker. So when I saw you there, I'm like, oh, this kid's moving up. This kid's moving up. So how was that experience, Orlando now, especially because you got one Fab Tech under your belt?
Well, it was a lot more. I was a little more chill, less in awe and stuff. Because it's like I had already met Bo, and I met Austin, and met all the guys from Weld.com, and then I did my interview with Jason Becker too. And,
Right. Yeah.
and I sometimes didn't even notice that I was being noticed by other people, and I was just like, this is kind of nice. Get and understanding this whole welding community of ours of how we're being seen all around, and then we even get shared. Some of our stuff gets shared off to other people, and
That's right.
I was like, this is awesome. I'm enjoying this more and more, and I get more excited every time when I think about next Fab Tech.
Well, back in Chicago next year.
Yep, and then I think the next year is supposed to be in Vegas, I believe.
Well, if we go by timing, it should be back in Atlanta, and then it goes Chicago, Atlanta, Chicago, Vegas. So it went Chicago, Atlanta, Chicago, Orlando, because it couldn't do Vegas. But I'm not sure yet. I'll be talking to SME, but
what I understood, they wanted to get Atlanta off the roster because people were having too many bad experiences with Atlanta. So I think they wanted to switch Atlanta for Orlando, and they just do Orlando and Vegas.
well, everyone in Orlando is telling you that it's going to be in Orlando, so we'll see.
I don't know. I think
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was one of those trial runs because
Yeah.
for one,
It was good, but it was
Yeah,
a lot of walking, man. Orlando, there was like those buildings were spread apart. Like I got my steps in, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean even the whole setting up and everything. Because I mean, first of all, we were all in we were waiting in for the results to see if you were going to have Fab Tech because
From the Hurricane Milton.
Yeah. Yeah, the hurricane hit the week before, and all of us were like, I was
Yeah.
expecting them to cancel it, and I was like, oh, now they're going to cancel it all, and then when they announced it was still going, I was like, no.
Well, we initially had a team of 20 going down, between all the areas that we were in, and then we scaled it back to 11 because we're like, oh, Hurricane Milton. But then there was conversations about it being shut down, and I said they won't shut it down. There's too many billions of dollars that roll through that building that Orlando is gonna need to rebuild with. You don't turn away business after a hurricane. You want business. I know it's not ideal for like infrastructure, but it's good to make money when you're down, right? So they said something about like the amount of money that Fab Tech generated for Orlando and the Florida area, and it was huge in the millions.
Yeah, I think it was also wasn't just about that. It's also like, well, what the government and FEMA was trying to, they were trying to do what was best or what they thought was
Mhm.
best. And luckily, with the governor of Florida, he's a bulldog, and he has a good mind on how to prepare for hurricanes and stuff. And so bravo to him. And but I was like, I was surprised, and I was like, I got excited that I was finally going to get a chance to go experience Florida for the first time and get to enjoy it with all the friends and stuff again, and get to see everybody again.
So did you feel more, I guess, included? I've been going to Fab Tech for 8 years now or so, and I remember the first few where I was like, I mean, the very first Fab Tech I went to, I was actually still just on my own business. I wasn't working for any bigger company. It was my company. My wife was my partner. I took her with me. She still keeps her name tag because it's like, it's old now. But, over the years, you build these friendships, you get to know everybody, and you get excited to see your friends. There you go out for suppers and you ditch all the crowds, and you sneak away for like, just meals amongst buddies, and I look forward to that. For you now, 2 Fab Techs in, you feel like you're getting to that point, you're getting more comfortable.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the first time it's like one of those, I don't want to step on toes, or I don't want to overstay my welcome in a way. And but
Mm-hmm.
it was like some of the events. There was like a couple of events that happened in Chicago that I had no clue or any word about. And so like the AWS is a formal that they do on the first time where everybody's dressed
The
up.
gala, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know nothing about it. And Joey and Katie asked me if I was going to be going, I was like, I don't have a tux, and I was like, I didn't get invited, so I don't think it's my place to go at this time. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, sorry, if I had known, I would have probably made sure that I can go, because I hadn't joined the AWS yet anyway.
Right.
So it was one of those things where
That's
it
a
was just,
fancy little party. Everyone gets to dress up nice.
yeah. And I mean, like, to be honest, it's like, it's a rare sight to see a bunch of welders in suits.
Well, I got done right up. I like to put on a big show, so
Well, I mean, even this Fab Tech, I didn't have a suit. I just wore a nice dress shirt and stuff. I still felt a little out of place, but I didn't have I didn't have enough funds to rent a tux and stuff all the way in Ohio, and then go and make sure all of it got back to
yeah, it would have
Ohio.
been tough.
So it was like, I mean, it was still a good time because I ended up chatting and networking with some other people, and I chatted with some other people and got to more connections in a way with some other businesses out there, and it brought even more people towards Bokomall's station and come check out our
Hmm.
stuff, and it worked out great for me, and worked out great for Lainey too, the girl that was with us, the girl that was with me,
Yeah,
and
lipstick and
lip and stick welding.
lipstick welding. That's right. Yeah, she's cool. Yeah.
Lip and stick welding.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Lainey, she's awesome, and I actually told the boss that you need to bring her because she has experience with the marketing department, and she also has a very bubbly personality that just draws people in.
Hmm.
So, and plus with the fact that we're trying to get into the female line, I
Right.
figured best to hear from a female, not hear from a dude.
That's right. That's smart. That's smart. Now
Yeah.
what what are your plans going forward? Like you still got the brand endorsements on the side. I see you're working on that all the time. You post up on it. For the people that don't have them, it's Big Mike Custom Steel on Instagram. You can follow him there. Now what's in your future, right? What's going on?
Well, as of right now, was given an extension here in Ohio, and I'm going to be here till April at least. And then hopefully, if everything goes correctly, I'm going to go back home to Kansas for a little bit, and maybe for a couple weeks, get
Hmm.
some paperwork figured out with the house and everything, and get some stuff updated. And then I'm going to try to also make some make a metal sculpture for Fab Tech.
Oh, nice.
debating
Fun.
right now. I'm debating on what to make because I've already made a seahorse, a stingray, and out of horseshoes, and I made a chameleon out of horseshoes too. And horseshoes have kind of become my thing now, and well, it's kind of the only thing I'm able to do at this time because I don't have a truck anymore. So
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
she can't haul sheet metal, and
Just buy the fire deer from Austin. Nobody seems to want it right now.
well, I can't haul that.
Sorry, Austin.
Right now I'm debating on if I'm going to make either an octopus, a shark, or a dolphin out of horseshoes next. I don't know why. I just like aquatic animals.
You like water.
Yeah, and so
And
that's
you,
the
you guys are gonna have a booth again at FabTech in Chicago.
yeah, and both me and Lainey have plans to bring our metal sculptures to the event itself.
Mm-hmm.
To pull people in, and we're gonna be shooting videos with the Bokomos products and doing the job itself. So it's advertisement, and it's also something that catches your eye and just pulls you in. So and then
Well, we'll all be there, like we are. You mean there's the main crew of us, and we're always there. So it's always exciting to get there and see everybody again.
oh yeah, it's like everyone always likes to say it's like a big old family reunion,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely it is. But it's always good because at least you can talk the trade with everybody, and your other family members are like looking at you like, what is he talking about, or what does he mean? What is this?
Almost everyone at FabTech is incredibly smart, right? And
Or
knows like all their stuff, right?
there we understand the lingo compared
Mm-hmm.
to regular people that aren't in this industry at all, and they're just like,
Yeah.
ooh, pretty structure.
Ooh, a building.
Yeah. Yeah, in a way. And then, but yeah, us as we're like talking the technical side, we're like, oh, I TIG welded this in 95 amps and did a walk in the cup method. I used this filler metal, and where I hit it with the hammer, and
Yeah, Now, what about your professional life? Where are you going to go with welding? The company you're working with now, it sounds like you're pretty happy with the setup. Where do you see yourself in terms of your welding career?
well, as of right now, I plan on keep doing this for maybe a couple more years or so, and see how things are financial wise, and if I'm still enjoying it, I'm just going to keep doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and then see what other opportunities come up for me doing this exactly, because they may offer me a manager position or might ask me to manage some crew or something,
Yeah.
and depending on if I want to do that kind of work or not. So it's one of those things. It's kind of a toss up, and my main thing is trying to get through get through 2025 and try to pay off what debts I still owe, and then eventually get back on see where I go next. As far as I'm aware,
So wherever the wind will take you.
pretty much with a nomad kind of method.
Or wherever the water will take you, since you like your aquatic animals.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, this has been a fantastic interview. Just to wrap it up with a couple questions. The first one would be, and I want to go back to this idea of, how you've matured over your career, from being someone that people were afraid of to now being a brand ambassador, working at table at FabTech, where you have to smile and be nice to thousands of people a day. What kind of advice would you give to a young person that perhaps is struggling with anger in the workplace personally, and what would you say to them about, how to work their way through that and to get to a better place?
I guess for a piece of advice for that part is being angry and pissed off is like drinking salt water and trying to thirst your hydration. It's slowly going to kill you, and until you stop drinking it, you're going to just keep ruining yourself in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And or just another thing is just sometimes you gotta let go of that stuff. Go find your higher power, find the people that you can go to, whether it's your friends, the sponsors you've made, if you get into those and those recovery groups and stuff, or just find those certain people that you can count on, that you can talk to, and that will just listen. Or if you just need to hear some point of view that you may not have looked at, and just so that you're not blowing up and
Yeah.
detonating yourself in a way, or it's like you pulled a grenade on a pin on the grenade, you're just holding on to it.
And you sit on it.
Yeah. Or no, you're just holding on to it because you're just like, you might as well just put it up against your head at that point, and just so that's going to be like, that'll be the end of your career because nobody's going to want to work with you.
That's right. Like, and these are small, like welding is huge, but the network is small. You get blacklisted and people find out, right? And it does affect your career, so, your attitude at work is an important thing. And honestly, if you're angry at work, you're probably angry at home too. So, it's not a good place for anybody.
Yep, definitely.
Now, what about how to get people to find you? How do people find out about your sponsors, the stuff you're repping? How can people find you on Instagram, TikTok, wherever? Give us all your deets for the fans.
My Instagram is Big Mike Custom Steel. You'll see me welding with Bokamal's clothing, because that's pretty much all I wear. You also see me talking about other products, or even check out my live chats where I'm chatting with other people doing stuff kind of like what this is, except there's no editing or recording or recording. It's just live chatting and stuff. And also on TikTok, I have a Big Mike 32.6. See some videos, have a laugh, enjoy some hilarity. Enjoy some welder humor, or some blue collar humor in a way.
Awesome. And you're going to be at FabTech in Chicago. So, of course, for the people listening, we'll see you in Chicago September 8th to 11th this next year. It's already in my calendar. We're already starting to plan for it. I got lots of irons in the fire there. So,
yep. Yeah, definitely. I'm more excited for it every time we get closer.
Awesome, Matt. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show today, Mike.
Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. And for all the people that have been following, downloading, and sharing the content in the podcast, please continue to do so. We cannot continue without your support. Thank you to the sponsors and the advertisers. And of course, check out all the back catalog. We are coming up on our 200th episode. The 200th episode will be released on January 1st. Just good timing. I don't know how that worked out. It just happened to work out that way, but that's pretty cool. And, I'm very proud of my team. So a big shout out to my team that helped support this. And of course, to all the guests on the show and all the fantastic listeners that have got us coming up on almost 75,000 downloads. So thank you very much. Catch you at the next one.
We hope you enjoyed the show.